the idea that more mining could be moved to the United States now that we know the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. But mining is a business where there is a very large moat. It's not easy just to pick things up and move them and start over. How quickly can this be done?
So it's very difficult to move a mining operation. For the first thing, you have to have access to power. You have to have power substations. In our case, our mining infrastructure is designed around modular containers. So, for example, it takes us 1 year from clean ground to finished, fully operational to build a 240 megawatt data center. Unlike the AI industry, which takes multiple years to do it, our systems are fairly simple in that they're very modular. They use 40-foot containers. And we can pick up and move if need be. As a matter of fact, we've done it in the past. We moved a whole data center from Hardin, Montana to Texas in the matter of about 35 days. So it can be done, but you have to have access to power. So we're mining to be banned in this country. You would see an exodus, but it would take most probably about 18 months for a lot of that mining capacity to move to other places in the world. But mining is growing all over the world. You're seeing growth in Africa, Ethiopia.
Does it make sense to move? If we could have only 2 years of a really crypto-friendly Congress, and we could see regulatory changes 2 years from now, does it actually make sense to make these big moves?
No, I don't think you're going to see any miners picking up and moving. I think what you are going to see is miners like ourselves who want to have a diversified base of operations. So our goal is to have 50% of our operations international and 50% domestic in the U.S. Today, we're more like 80-20 in the U.S. And that's really more a focus not on regime or regulatory risk, but it's on power and energy access and costs in the U.S. We compete with the AI industry very much for power, and access to grid-connected power is becoming harder because of that. And so miners like ourselves are very focused on owning generating assets and generating our own energy. We recently announced one of our first projects to build micro data centers using flare gas from oil fields, where we mitigate methane by burning it, generating electricity from it, and generating our own electricity.
Fred.
So yes.
Yeah, so one question I have here too is, when we've talked before, this year was a very big year for Bitcoin alone, given another halvening cycle. And we've talked about how miners have been diversifying more, but you've just seen this shoot higher in prices of Bitcoin. Does it make you change your thinking here about the value of Bitcoin moving forward? Do you worry about the toppiness of the levels we're at? Or do you think that this new administration has just unlocked a new wave of price increases that could really change the equation for you and your rivals?
I think a number of things unlock value in driving the price of Bitcoin. The ETFs at the beginning of this year had a huge impact. They accelerated price from the December price ranges up through June. You saw a fairly strong pickup because of that. What we're now seeing is the market understanding there will be a regulatory friendly environment in the US. Bitcoin has not been front and center to the SEC's eyes. It has been other crypto aspects. Bitcoin is a commodity, so the SEC has essentially ignored it. What Bitcoin has suffered from in the US is challenges in the banking world with access to on and off ramps, which we believe now will be alleviated with the new administration. The bigger issue has been the threat of the Biden administration's desire to put a tax on the energy used solely by Bitcoin miners and not other industries. And I think Bitcoin mining, collaborating with the AI industry in doing projects. Bitcoin mining is very synergistic to AI in that our load profile matched to their profile is very synergistic. The other thing is, I think this administration is going to be very positively inclined to looking at US miners and the protection of block space.
Okay.
Bitcoin is very dependent on miners who process transactions. If mining moves offshore, then other countries have control over the ability of US Bitcoin holders and investors to transact, which is why the US needs to have about 40% of the global hash rate in the US so that they can control enough block space so that US investors and international investors who want to invest in the world's largest equity market, which is the US,
right,
can feel safe and comfortable.